like to welcome you to the Friday Main Event Class 3A Region Preview Show. I'm Mike Molder, and he is Lee Teat. Lee, and this is the third in a series of 6 of these shows we'll be doing. We'll be highlighting Class 3A this particular show. And as we've done in the previous 2 shows, we like to kind of recap, Lee, how the 2019 season went. It kind of gives the viewers a little refresher of what happened last year and how everything played out, and kind of leading into this year, kind of what we got to, what we should expect out of a lot of these teams.
That's right. Anytime we're talking 3A football or any football in general, Alcoa is a name that you're going to hear it.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they have been in 20 title games.
Wow.
And won 18 of them. And of course they won it last year.
Right.
And you look at that 2019 team, statistically speaking, I think it may be the best Alcoa Tornado team that's ever took on the field. They had 10 shutouts and 15 ball games.
That's amazing, man. And entering that 2019 postseason, Lee, only blemish on their record was that 17-3 loss to arch rival Maryville.
6A squad.
Yeah, exactly.
And won the
Won the championship, undefeated in 6A. That was the only game that Alcoa lost. So, they made short work of West Green. They played Pittman in the second round, and they had Austin East rematch there. And then they wound up literally destroying a undefeated Loudon team, come into that semifinal game 13-0, and they beat them 56-0 to mark another one of those shutouts you mentioned.
That's right. And the west side was a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coach Brunetti, Pearl-Cone Firebirds, a 4th title game appearance in second in 5 years.
Second in 5 years, 4th overall. Yeah.
Had a shutout win over Stewart County in round 1. They beat East Nashville, a really good squad.
Yep.
Giles County and Covington by single digits, but they won by 1 point over Covington.
Yeah.
To get into the championship game. So Coach Brunetti was very battle tested last year.
Yes, he was, and 2 of those wins, I think Lee was over region rivals, East Nashville and Giles
That's
County.
Right.
That Region 5 was tough last year. But, that led to the title game we kind of anticipated at the beginning of the season. Of course, Alcoa matched up against an overmatched Pearl-Cone team, and true to form, Alcoa did get another shutout in the title game. They actually led that game 27-0 at halftime, and they kind of kicked it into cruise control and shut that offense down. Gary Rankin picks up his 15th state title as a head coach, 439th win overall. But 2019, pretty much as we expected, right?
Yes, sir.
I wonder what we're going to think about this coming season here. What's the odds-on favorite for this one?
Okay.
Seems like every year, man. That's crazy that you can do that, but I don't know of any other classification now. I mean, Maryville, at least they have had some other teams to win in the last 10 years, but Alcoa, other than the 2 losses to CAK, they've just totally dominated over this last decade.
It's been pretty crazy.
Well, I think CPA got them one time.
CPA got them once. What's interesting, Mike, about 3A this year is 13 new head coaches. 13 new head coaches. Kind of going against the trend of single A, double A, not a lot of coaching movement on the lower classification, but 3A, man, has been kind of wide open a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. I think we only had 6 in single A and 6, 7, 8, something like that in the 2A.
Yep.
So, 13 and 3A. And I think you see a lot more movement in these middle classifications. It seems like once you get up to an upper classification, obviously there's nowhere to go up. Typically you're getting fired when you get up at that 6A level if you lose your job. You don't see many people opting out of those jobs. But, a lot of movement, Lee, no doubt. We'll go ahead and get things started and talk about Region 1 in Class 3A, Lee Teat. And this region I believe, was swept. Is that correct? Yeah, they were swept in the first round. Chucky Doak, the Black Knights, won Region 1 last year, Lee. They were 6-5, 5-0 in region play. I think they won 3 of their 5 region games by 4 points or less. So very balanced region.
It was. And I tell you what, the Black Knights, they've got Matthew Palazzo coming back as a senior quarterback, also plays DB. Evan Mervin is the tailback, and then they got Matthew Butch, who's a free safety, is a senior. Those would be kind of some key players they've got returning. I don't know that Chucky Doak is going to win this region this year, though.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lee. We kind of stayed in touch with Drew Rice's AD last year. It was the only coach in the whole state. I'm talking about the whole state, Lee, but he emailed their stats to me every game.
Right.
So I've got a vested interest in the Blue Devils. I'm going to be pulling for them this year.
Right. That's right.
Anybody would take the time and send us their stats, and I appreciate the heck out of that, man. But he did every game. He got his stats sent to us. They were easily the most dominant team in the district, winning their region contest by an average of 41 points, with the exception being that 2-point loss to Chucky Doak. So.
Right.
I felt like, all along they were probably the best team in the region. They just apparently had an off night or something.
That's
I don't
right.
know the details. But I like Drew Rice's squad, led by Brock Thompson at quarterback, to take this region this year.
I think you're right, Mike. I think they may, like you said, they may have had an off night against Chucky Doak, but I think Unicoi County is the best team in this region.
Yeah, I do too, Lee. And Swinehart, the tackle, is another leader back on that team. They got Charles Hobson back at running back, Tracy Vanover, another running back. Nolan Bennett, they got him listed as an athlete. He's only a freshman. Lee.
Look for him.
Yep, exactly. That's they're going to be tough this year, and again, I like them to win this region. However, now Johnson County has won this region several years of recently. They finished third last year. But they were shut out by Austin East there in the first round. But I don't think they got the horses to run with Unicoi County this year.
Well, speaking of horses, they do have Corey Neely back, John Stout, Logan Gilly, Ricky Fenner, Stacy Greer. And then one thing when you look down that list right there, those are all upperclassmen.
Yeah.
Juniors and seniors, so that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
I potentially, what do you think, second, maybe slide into the 2 spot in the region?
Yeah, I think that's where I'd put them at, competing with West Green, because West Green is under new leadership.
Yes.
Scotty Brand takes over there. He was 18-7 in 2 years at South Green. Joe Case is out, but what I like about them, Lee, is 2 of their 3 region losses were by a total of 3 points. So
that's correct.
I think they're going to be right in competition for that 3rd spot as well. They've got Damon Gladson back, Alan Vaughn at quarterback, senior quarterback. You got to like that. Ethan Turner, wide receiver, talented sophomore. Dakota Wood listed as an athlete. And then you got Bryson Church at wide receiver. So I think West Green, under the new leadership there, Scotty Brand, is potentially the number 2. I think they'll battle with Johnson County for that 2 spot. I think Chucky Doak falls back to 4 this year, to be honest with you.
That's very well possible.
Moving on down, Lee, you got Claiborne County. They finished 3-7, 1-4 in region play. That's Nathan Medlin is 12-30 in his 4 years there at Claiborne. Thoughts on the Bulldogs?
I just don't see any room for movement.
Yeah,
I think that I think the top part of the region in Region 1 is a little bit stronger than the lower half, but I just don't see any movement for Claiborne right now.
And their only win was over Andrew Murray's North Green team. He's 2-8 there in 2 years at North Green. Hadn't had a lot of success. Sky Arwood, is that how you would say that?
Sky Arwood.
I'll go with that. He's a senior quarterback there. Mercer's back at running back, along with Micah Jones. So they got a lot of kids coming back, Lee, but you got to remember it's a 2-8 team that didn't win a region game. So I don't know that there's any advancement on their part.
I don't see it.
So recapping quickly, Region 1, Lee, we like Unicoi County at 1. We like Johnson County and West Green to battle for that 2-3. And we think Chucky Doak drops to 4. But again, as we stated at the start of this show, or the start of this region rundown, this region very balanced outside of Unicoi County. All the games other than that game were single score victories by certain teams. So this one's really a coin flip, I think, once you get past Unicoi County.
Right.
All right, Mr. Teat, let's move on to Region 2. And Region 2 is one of the most loaded regions in the state in Class 3. I think them, along with Region 5 and obviously Region 7, I think again this year, as it was last year, is going to be the cream of the crop. Alcoa, you just talked about in the opener league, obviously is going to be everybody's odds-on favorite to repeat this year. Got a lot of talent back, don't they, Lee?
They sure do, man. They got Gray Carroll, number 20 recruit, defensive end, 6'3", 250. J.R. Jones, it's a running back DBs, preseason All-Stater. Sam Valton,
and
which transferred.
Yep, he sure did.
You know, so
he's in California now, Lee. I saw on Twitter the other day he actually got caught COVID. And I think he's recovering from that now, but I don't think they're going to play football in California this year. So
yeah, well,
that may have wound up being a poor decision on.
But they got reason I was alluding to Sam Valton leaving. Man, you think Lunsford, sophomore quarterback, you think he'll get the nod, or do you think Cam Burden?
I really don't know. Burden played quarterback for who was it? Was it Sevier County?
I can't remember.
It seems like Sevier. He transferred in.
Yeah.
For some reason that's sticking in my head. Sevier County. That may not be right. But yeah, he's got. But I don't know if you can afford to take him. You know, he was very talented in that secondary, and Coach Rankin, he doesn't normally run a lot of two-way players. You know?
Yeah, and then you got Isaiah Cox, athlete, number 38 recruit. I mean, they just got a lot of talent, man.
Yeah, they
great
got
coaching staff, probably one of the best staffs in the game.
Oh, look there. I had in the notes. He did transfer from Sevier County.
Yeah, I think that's, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, they bringing back about everybody again. I don't have Donovan Stewart's capsules that tell you exactly how many returning starters on both sides of the ball, but I think we talked to Coach Rankin. I know we talked to him in the spring, remember, and he was telling us that pretty much the whole team from last year is back.
Unbelievable.
And that's scary. That's scary. And with the 10 shutouts, as you mentioned, man, that's going to be tough.
His defensive staff is great.
They are. Well, his whole staff is good, man. I mean, they put in the time. And they obviously have the talent. So, it's going to be tough. Austin East Lee finished up second. The Roadrunners now began the season 0-2 with losses to Webb and Alcoa. And then they also lost a game later to Greenville. But the two losses to Alcoa and then they lost to Knox Webb and a loss to Greenville was all the losses they had. And they were the only team that, even scored on Alcoa any significant points. They put up 28 on them in the third round.
Well, big surprise to me, man. Did you see Jeff Phillips leaving?
No, I did not. That was surprising.
Huge.
Well, I tell you, Lee, I say it wasn't a big surprise because if you was in the league, in the region with Gary Rankin and Alcoa every year, wouldn't you be looking for an exit plan? I mean, if you had aspirations of state titles, you're not going to get them being in the region with Alcoa. Now, of course, Coach
Antonio Mays.
No, I was referring to CAK. Man, he's a buddy of ours. Rusty Bradley.
Yeah.
His name was escaping. Of course, he did take Alcoa 2 years in a row in region play, but that doesn't happen very often. So I'm not surprised Coach Phillips left. He did about all he could do there.
Yeah.
At that program.
I was surprised at it because I thought he did a phenomenal job. He just was in our buddy Coach Rang. We're about to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And Austin East, they've got Ken Smith back.
Yes.
Wright is one of the linebackers, and of course Billingsley is back as a running back sophomore.
Holloway,
a sophomore quarterback. I assume we'll be taking over the reins there at quarterback. But yeah, they're going to have talent back again this year, Lee. But I like you. It sounds like anyway. I think Derek Rain's team, his Gatlinburg-Pittman team, has a real good opportunity to move up to that second spot this year.
I think so too. We've been high on Coach Rang for a long time. I think he's a very solid coach. Came out from under Coach Quarles there in Maryville.
Yep.
Went down to
he coached at Powell first,
Powell.
and then he went to Dresden.
Won a title down there. Big question for me this year with GP is who's replacing Schultz, their quarterback.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be fine everywhere else, but I think they're going to have to get them a little quarterback established. But Coach Rain's good with that. He's had some good QBs in the past. So
he is very good. Burkett, the offensive line, will be leading away from up front. Pierce Hammond's a running back, also plays linebacker. Bryson Flynn is a very good kicker. Ethan Stennett at wide receiver, and of course Jacob Ferguson is listed fullback and linebacker junior. So good young players, good young talent there for the Highlanders. I like them to move into that second spot, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we may be the only ones picking that, but I like it. I think they got a good shot at moving and getting a home field playoff spot there. Kingston Lee Teat, the Yellow Jackets, 7-5 last year, 3-3 in region play. Only beat Pigeon Forge by 3 points last year, so I don't know that they're going to be able to retain that 4th spot this year. I think that 4th spot could be up for grabs. What's your thoughts?
I'm with you. I think that.
But remember, Coach Rankin, what was one team he mentioned to watch out for?
Kingston.
Sure did. I forgot about that.
Yep, he did. This region. I take away Alco, obviously.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting because Austin East has a new head coach.
Yeah.
Normally I would have said, they're the two.
Yeah, right. I agree.
But now they got a new head coach. It'll be a little interesting to see.
Yeah.
I think Kingston can.
Well, I had forgotten that. I just remembered, when we talked to Coach Rankin back in April, him saying he thought Kingston was going to have a pretty good squad this year.
They're young though. If you look, man, Eli Davis, sophomore, Rose. He's a senior, but look at the quarterback, Kane Collins, sophomore. Austin Edmonds, running back, sophomore.
Yeah.
They're young, so hey, if Coach Rankin's already saying they might be pretty good and they got all those sophomores, that's a good thing.
Yeah, better look out for them. You're exactly right, Lee. Scott County, the Highlanders 4-6, 1-5. Brandon Carson back at linebacker, Chambers at wide receiver, Dylan Day at wide receiver, Noah Boutron is listed. Boutram, is that the
Buttram.
Boutram, okay. Quarterback junior, Brandon Carson, wide receiver. Again, 4-6, 1-5. I don't know that they did have a wins over Cumberland County, Granger, Cumberland Gap, and Pigeon Forge. Lost to Northview 28-21. But I don't know. I think the overall record, those 3 teams down at the bottom, they all wound up being tied. But they did take that, fifth spot, 6th spot, based on the overall record. Because Pigeon Forge was 1-9, Northview was 1-9. Scott Meadows takes over Pigeon Forge. That was an interesting hire.
Correct, man. He's
been everywhere.
Everywhere.
Do they make any noise? I mean, that guy's seasoned. He's been around.
Got a lot of seniors.
Watson.
He's got a lot of juniors and seniors on that squad. A lot. Maples, the running back. Schultz is a junior. I don't know, Mike. I don't know if they got any room, man.
Yeah, they may climb up. They could potentially climb up and challenge Kingston. Potentially, I mean, just that used to be a pretty good program, and then it wasn't too long ago that was a pretty good program over at Pigeon Forge. So with a good seasoned coach like Coach Scott Meadows, who knows, man? I mean, that guy's he's been at Pigeon Forge before. He's been at Sequoia. He's been at Alcoa. He's been at Knox Carter. He's been at Catholic. He's been at William Blunt. He's been all over the East Tennessee. So he's got to know something. He keeps getting the job.
Yeah, that's true.
Northview Academy, Lee, Heath Woods 1-9 in his first year there. I don't think they're going to make any noise this year. Do you?
No.
They did beat Scott County 28-21, as we mentioned, but I think they're probably destined to finish up to bottom again. All right, well, Lee, that's going to cover Region 1 and 2. We'll put up, like we've been doing in all the shows, we'll put up on the screen a screenshot of our projections for Region 1 and 2, and then we'll come back right after that. All right, Lee, that was Regions 1 and 2. We're going to jump back into Region 3. Region 3 dominated by Jeff Herrig's Loudon squad, led by his son Keaton at quarterback.
Correct.
They won their region games by an average of 31 points last year, Lee. Beat a solid Red Bank team twice. I think they averaged 18 points a game, margin of victory over Red Bank. Again, Red Bank, the only two losses they had were two losses to Loudon. So,
that's right.
What's your thoughts on Loudon heading into this 2020 year?
I think they're going to be right back in that one spot in Region 3. Coach Herrick's son's just a junior.
Yep.
So he got another year or two with him. I like Loudon defensively. They didn't give up more than 14 points.
Yeah.
Any game last year until they met Alcoa in the semifinals. They're going to be solid, man. Real solid.
Yeah, Coach Herrig has a lot of history with Loudon. You know, he left there and then came back there 3 years ago. The program kind of dropped off a lot. He came back and he's gotten them back, you know, being a dominant force again. And I agree with you. I like them to win this region again. Mackenzie Lunsford at running back returns. Devin Nichols, Joshua Gonzalez. A lot of seniors, and I like the Wolliver and Markham, the two offensive linemen are back. So Herrick's going to have some pretty stable guys up in front of him protecting him. So yeah, I like the Redskins. I think, are they going to be able to keep that name, Redskins? That's a sore topic for you, ain't it?
I don't know, man.
I think it's ridiculous, but anyway. Red Bank, Lee Teat, 10-2 last year. Only two losses to Loudon.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on the lines?
I think, Mike, Red Bank is I love Coach Brown. I think the guy's good. It's going to be interesting, buddy. And he's got Jaden High, preseason All-State. B.J. Ragland, preseason All-State. Lemire Strickland. Plenty of talent in that area. Chattanooga area is loaded with talent down and around in there. Whew. You think he competes for the one?
I don't know, man. If they got beat by 18 points a game last year, and looks like Loudon's got a lot of their key players back, I don't really see.
Well, what I'm wondering, though, is did Coach Brown go back and look at these games and see something or figure something out in the off-season? We know he can coach.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And I right now I like Red Bank at the 2 spot in that region. But they might make some noise, man.
Sweetwater, Wildcats, Lee Teat, they finished up 3rd in this region. Mike Martin is 56-50 overall, 7-4 in his first year at Sweetwater. They lost by a single point to your team, Smith County. The Owls beat them in the first round. What's your thoughts on Mike Martin's team?
Well, they got Blomstrom, senior DN, linebacker, tight end, kid. So you know he's a multiple athlete, be able to play all those spots. Bryce Johnson, the running back. Austin Long is a quarterback, free safety, senior. A lot of senior leadership.
Right.
A lot of senior leadership. What do you say, 3 maybe?
Yeah, I think there was them and Signal. I think they battled to a 3-point game last year, so I would probably look for those teams to kind of battle it out for that 3rd, 4th spot again this year. Moving on to Signal Mountain, Josh Roberts' squad, 14-19 in 3 years. He was the offensive coordinator prior to taking over that head coaching job. The Eagles just, I think they did really well the first year or two he was there, but they didn't seem like they improved last year like I was expecting them to, Lee. Braden Kastner's back. He's listed as an athlete. Nate Menzel, offensive lineman, along with Pearson Lindsay, another offensive lineman. But I think them and Sweetwater, again, are going to be pretty neck and neck there for that 3rd spot.
Well, I think Coach Roberts is going to have to talk to his team, or has probably all off season about stringing some wins together. Yeah. They didn't have a single 2 wins in a row all year.
So it was win,
lose.
lose.
Yeah. You know, so.
That's the only way you're ever going to get successful, man, is to get on a little run there.
Got a little string something together and get a little confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Lee Brainerd, Brainerd Panthers, Tyrus, Tyrus Ward, 13 and 38 overall. I think he's 7-24 in 3 years there at Brainerd. 1-9 last year. Their only win was against McMinn Central. I don't see any room for moving up there.
I don't either. DeQuantus Wynn now, he's running back over there. He's pretty good.
Yeah, and then again, McMinn Central 3-7. They did pick up 3 non-region victories, but let's see, Jace Derrick, running back, Novice Cox at linebacker, Seth Holliday, and Jesse Shamley are some notable kids coming back for the Chargers. But I think they'll battle Brainerd. I don't think they can get past anybody else in the region.
I agree.
All right, Lee, let's move on to Region 4. Region 4 is Upperman, and Adam Kane, man, what a great job he has done there at Upperman since he came over from Sequatchie County. 10-2 last year, 5-0 in region play. What's your thoughts on the Bees here in 2020?
I think they're going to be fine. They graduated a ton of kids.
Right.
A lot of senior graduated, but they got Jaron McClellan, Daniel Metzger, which is a familiar name with the Upperman area, and then Terrence Deadman as a sophomore.
All right.
Must be a pretty good little ball player. Probably more of the same from Upperman.
Well, they did beat. This to me is not a very strong region league. They won their region games by 35 points. I think their only loss last year was to Livingston Academy, 10-7. And if you remember, Coach Lamb's squad was really good last year.
Yep. And
of course, they did lose to Red Bank there in that second round. That was only 2 losses Urban had. He's only had, I think, a total of 3 losses, Lee. And of course, we're talking about Adam Kane. 3 total losses there in his 2 years as a head coach. Pretty darn impressive.
It's pretty good, buddy. Pretty good.
I like Upperman a lot to win this region repeat, despite the fact that they've got a heavy senior graduation. Now, I think Scott Murray did a really good job there with Smith County getting them turned around last year. I was impressed with them. 7-5, 4-1. What you know the Owls program pretty well. What's your thoughts on the job Coach Murray did? I thought he did a big fan of his.
I thought he did an outstanding job. Everybody was kind of looking at his overall record, but what they don't realize is his overall record was from stints as a head coach at Glencliff, Hunters Lane, and Whites Creek. Those are some of the hardest places to coach at.
Exactly.
He can coach.
Right.
He can coach, and he knows what he's doing. Now, he lost some good ball players off his last year's team, but look out for Johnny Latta, the sophomore quarterback, Bryce Curry, another sophomore, and then Colton Wyndham. Those 3 kids right there.
So you're naming off younger kids. You think?
Yes, sir.
Maybe they're a year off then.
Johnny Latta's a real deal. He's quick as a hiccup. Colton Wyndham, stout as a bull. Bryce Curry. They got some kids coming up, man. They're going to be very competitive, very competitive. And I think Coach Murray will, he'll coach them into some wins.
Well, they dominated region play other than Upperman.
Yep.
So I agree with you. I think they're in line to take that second spot again. And,
I think in the region they'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's outside the region, Livingston, Stone Memorial, DeKalb. Those are going to be some pretty tough ball games for them, but I think they're going to be okay in the region.
Well, I think that 1-point win they had over Sweetwater in round 1 last year, I think these young kids you're referring to, that did a lot, I think, as far as getting them more ready for this upcoming season. Getting that couple of postseason games under their belt, that's going to help them out a lot in the long run. Sequatchie County, our good buddy Mark Wattenberger coming over from Stone Memorial. He's done a good job there. He's 14-9 in his 2 years there. I like Sequatchie County to make the postseason again this year, Lee. I don't think they're going to move up on Smith County or Upperman though. What's your thoughts on that?
Be interesting to see. He's pretty upperclassman heavy. They might make a push for the 2 spots, you think?
Well, they may.
It's possible. Because Smith County, I think, is a little younger.
Yeah.
And I think Squatchy is gaining experience, or has over the past 2 years. So they'll be competing for the 2 or the 3.
Well, as we learned today, they're going to get to keep that week 1 game with South Pittsburgh. We thought that was probably going to wind up getting canceled. That'll help them out a lot, actually. I mean, I know it's a 1A team, but it's, in our opinion, the best 1A team in the state.
Mm-hmm.
So I think getting to start the season with that and seeing what speed South Pittsburgh's got and what talent they got on the field, I think that's going to better prepare them as they roll into region play.
Yes, I agree.
Then, they also have a non-region game with East Ridge. So who knows? I mean, I think they can play with Smith County. Smith County beat them by 19 last year. They've got to improve upon that, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, I believe they'll be more competitive this year. But I don't know that they're going to be competitive enough. Yeah, enough. Exactly. And Landon Easterly, offensive lineman. Griffith, did you already cover these?
No, sir.
Another offensive lineman. So they got they're senior heavy, and then you got Shaw on the defensive side of the ball. So in the trenches, they're senior heavy, which is always a good thing.
That's correct.
So who knows? I mean, and we think Coach Wattenberger is an excellent coach. So I think he'll coach them up. York Institute, Lee Teat, they promoted their offensive coordinator, Kerry Johnson. Derwin Wright is out. So I assume they'll stay with that. Veer would be my guess. The Dragons 3-8, 2-3, not as good a year, coming off a pretty good 2018 campaign. Ben Cooper at fullback returns. Dalton Barger at quarterback. Jonah Durham is at running back, and of course they did lose to Loudon there in the first round.
Correct.
You see them potentially moving up any in this region?
I do not. One thing I always say though about York is they'll hit you in the mouth.
Yeah.
You go up on the mountain to play, they're going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to be physical. Be interesting to see, how Coach Johnson does. Derwin Wright, he was kind of he'd been back and forth up there a few times.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see how Coach Johnson handles this bunch.
I like Cannon County, and I love Matt Daniels. Man, that guy's done one heck of a job. He was Cannon County alum, I think, in 07. He's been he coached in Georgia for several years. He came back to his alma mater, and he's done a phenomenal job there getting that fan base excited again about football. I mean, I think they hadn't won 5 games in 8 years prior to him coming in. They won 4 games last year. There's 1 point away from getting in postseason play. And it's been years since they've been in postseason play.
I like Coach Daniel as well. Like I said, being familiar with that region from the past, Cannon County was typically the cellar dweller.
Exactly.
And you do hear some excitement over there. I think he's still a player or 2 away.
Yeah.
But
I'm not talking region title now. I like them to take that 4th spot. I like them to knock York out this year.
Well, I think he's a player or 2 away from making some waves.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Connor Tucker, running back, returns. Blake Bond is a tight end. Ed Robertson at running back. Lavelle Rogers, wide receiver. Nick Phillips at quarterback, junior, returns. I like them, man. I think they're
getting the playoffs.
I think we see them in the postseason for the first time in many, many years. So good luck to you, Coach Daniel. We're rooting for you, brother. Grundy County Lee, Tracy Hayworth, Yellow Jacket squad 0-10, 0-5. Just couldn't get anything going after the scandal there to start the season. I think it kind of derailed everything for them. I don't know. I don't think they improve any this year, to be honest with you.
Pretty brutal out-of-region schedule for Grundy County.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty brutal.
Franklin County.
It's all over the place, too.
Yeah, South Pitt. Yeah, it's going to be tough, Lee. I don't think there's any room for them to move up, to be honest with you, in Region 4.
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Teat, that'll end our coverage of Region 3 and 4 like we did for Region 1 and 2. We'll put that up on the screen, show you our projections for those 2 regions, and we'll do that now, and we'll be back right after this. All right, Lee, that was Regions 3 and 4. We're going to roll into Region 5, and Region 5 is Murderers Row, man. There's 4 really stout teams in this region.
Yes.
And, this to me is the hardest region to pick in the state. I'm not necessarily saying it's the best region, but it's the hardest one to pick because they kind of banged each other up a lot last year, and I think we're going to see a lot of that again this year. But look at the talent-rich team Coach Brunetti is bringing back from Pearl Cone. And we talked about that in the post-game interview up in Cookeville, man. He's got everybody back. Talk about some of those kids he's got back.
Well, I talked to Coach Brunetti a couple weeks back. I saw him down there at the quarterback training facility in Franklin. And speaking of one of those talented kids, he had Martino Owens down there. Mm-hmm. Martino's back healthy. He got busted up pretty bad there in the state title game.
Right.
Ended up, it was a break.
It was a break.
I
thought it was. I was right there when that happened. Yeah. And when they told us post-season or post-game, I was like, nah, he broke it. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They've got him healed up and on the mend, and I was watching him throw down there. Man, look, the kid was sharp.
Yeah.
But he has got look what all he's got around him, Mike.
Yeah, it's who's who of high school talent.
It is, man.
Griffin Parker, the
crazy.
Offensive line, 6'5", 325. He's the number 14 recruit in the state, Lee Teat. Breedlove, he's the number 15 recruit, and he's at running back, 627 yards, 10 TDs. I think he was underused last year.
Yeah, he's going to Ole Miss.
Yep.
Or committed to Ole Miss.
Committed to Ole Miss. Ivan Dayton at running back.
Aaron Jordan.
And then you got Brown, the junior. He's the number 7 rated junior in the state. And, and then you look down.
Okello.
Yeah, exactly. He's the number 26 recruit in the state. So what you got? You got like 6 kids right there that are in the 247 top 40.
Well,
top 25.
Oh, yeah. One thing that I like, I think the west side of 3A is harder to get to the title game.
Yes.
I do. I think it's tougher across the board.
Well, except for Alcoa.
No, I'm saying for as far as like your path to the state championship game, it is much tougher, I think.
Yeah.
But Coach Brunetti, man, what seasons his team is, look at his out of region schedules every year.
Yeah.
He ain't ducking anybody.
No, Cane Ridge, NBA, Independence, Hillsboro. It's one of the hardest schedules in the state when you combine that with the in-region talent.
That's correct. I mean, his region is good too, and then he goes outside of the region, and it's always a solid team. They have to play every night.
Yeah, no days off for that.
No days off.
Squad. And speaking of that talented region, Stratford, Thomas Porter,
Yes, sir.
Takes that second spot this year. And, of course, they were coming off, what was it, semifinals the year before that they made it to?
Yep.
Jacob Webb back at quarterback. Perkins is the strong safety. Samuel Armstead is another listed at quarterback. Stovall, defensive end. A lot of talent there, Lee. They were knocked out by Giles County.
That's correct.
17-14 in the second round. They beat Giles County during the regular season, beat East Nashville, and then, of course, they lost to Giles County in that second round. Tough team right there, Spartans.
Yes, sir.
And then you like this team a lot, East Nashville,
I do.
right?
I do. I like East Nashville. Ton of talent. Quanzay Jemison, he's a really good kid. Jacob Leatherwood, number 41 recruit. Linebacker, 6'2", 215. Rontavius Gregory, Taylor Fletcher. East Nashville's got a ton of talent. They're very athletic. It'll be interesting to see.
Fletcher's coming in at 335.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Jamal Stewart, who was at Hillsboro, offensive coordinator at Hillsboro for the last 3 seasons, taking the program over. He's got enough talent to win.
Yeah, I'd say it was a pretty coveted job right there, wouldn't you?
I think know it's a good position to be in.
I know some coaches that put in for that job. I think there's a lot of people seeking that one out.
Yes, sir.
Giles County, Coach O'Connor Lee always does a really good job with that Bobcat team. Again, they made it all the way to the third round and played Pearl Cone very tight, 28-21. and he's got the bulk of his team coming back, including Che McElroy, who had almost 1,400 yards rushing last year.
16 TDs.
So you can't sleep on Giles County, man. I don't think there's other than. I mean, you got to put Pearl Cone, I think, as the favorite.
Yes.
Would you not agree?
Yes.
But I don't think there's a real clear favorite for the 2 spot in this region.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
It could be flipped any way you slice it.
Yeah.
The 2, 3, 4 spots.
I agree, Lee. And I think they did indeed sweep Region 6 last year, as we predicted would happen. And I'm predicting it's probably going to happen again this year. I'm sorry, Coach Hughes, but you win your region as we expect, man. It's going to be tough road to hoe.
So Whites Creek went out, another team in this region, and picked up Coach Darnell, who was the defensive coordinator for Pearl Cone.
Last 7 years,
For the last 7 years. So
Cameron Davis is at quarterback there. 3-7, 1-4, Lee. There's no place to move.
There's no place to move, but I think they're going to improve.
Yeah.
I think Whites Creek will improve.
And then, of course, Republic dropped their program. That was the other team in this region. I think the new team over in Mount Juliet, Green Hills, is going to pick up their schedule, and they're going to play out. That was really fortunate for them. They wouldn't have been able to play a varsity schedule this year. They would have had to wait for the reclassification, so it worked out really well for them to be able to pick that varsity schedule up.
Look out for this Green Hills school, Mike. That area over there is growing. It's right on Davidson-Wilson line.
Yeah.
And West Wilson is growing like by leaps and bounds.
How much is that going to affect Coach Perry over at
It will. It's going to affect him some. The zoning is going to get him a little bit.
Yeah.
Look out for this program 3-4 years down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I would really be watching this hard.
All right, Lee. Let's move on to Region 6 here, brother. And again, Fairview
three new coaches.
Yeah. 3 new coaches. You're exactly right. And we discussed all the coaches in Region 5, didn't we? Yeah. And again, Fairview typically the team to beat in this region won their region games by 29-point average last season. Now they do have Nardozzi back at running back, almost 1,800 yards, 16 TDs. He's definitely going to be the workhorse, no doubt, for this team, right?
That's correct. And then you got Mathis and Cundiff and Layden Grant. The biggest thing with Fairview, I think, got to toughen up their out of region schedule. You got to play some people to get you prepared for the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I think they need to. Coach Hughes needs to pick up a little bit tougher competition out of region.
There's some people that think they will probably get reclassified up next year. I think there's been some growth over there.
Oh yeah,
and I even heard they may opt to go up to 4, even if they don't get reclassified as 4. The logic being the path that Springfield has had to Cookeville each year is an easier path than what they've got in 3A, had to go through Pearl Cone, Covington, and all these other tough 3A teams. So what I'm hearing from the folks at Fairview is that Coach Hughes, even if he isn't reclassified as 4A, he may opt to play up to 4A to dodge this murderous, last year, prime example. He had a good team, had a Giles County squad that beat him 28-7 in the first round as a 4th seed out of Region 5. Region 5 is really tough to get through, and then if you get through them, then you got to deal with Region 7 in the semifinals. So, yeah, I understand the reasoning here.
I do too, but I don't know, Mike. I ain't never been one to duck.
Well, I ain't neither, and
I get it.
I get it, yeah.
But hey, you're in 3A. Try to win 3A.
Yeah. Who's to say that 4A doesn't get,
exactly
tough in the next 2
years? I'm not saying he's ducking.
Yeah.
I hope you don't think that way, Coach Hughes. But I've never been one to try to.
Well, I didn't hear that from Coach Hughes. I heard that from fans on Coach T.
Yeah, I've never been one to try to get away from something to
get an advantage.
If you can't beat me, honest, beat me.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, that's the honest way. I mean, you're allowed to play up. The TSSAA rules allow that, and if that's what they opt to do, I mean, that more power to them.
But like I said, you're in 3A now.
Yeah, right.
You got to try to see if you can beat some of these Region 5 teams.
Right.
How you going to do that? You got to go outside of your region and play tougher opponents.
Yeah. Better prepare you for
that murder's row over there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Sycamore, Lee, my good buddy Justin Robinson steps down. I think he's now on the staff at Good Pasture.
Yes, sir.
Mark Hall takes over. He's a former defensive coordinator at Rossview. He stepped into, another tough situation. It's kind of the same what we were talking about. He knows year in and year out his first-round game is going to be against one of these really tough Region 5 games. So he's got his work cut out for him. Tyler Nibel, is that how you say that?
Yep.
You go with that. Running back senior, Adam Carey, Logan Siebert, and then Ryan Siebert. Our brothers, I would assume, wouldn't you? Both of them are linemen, linebackers. Returning players, key players for this Sycamore team. And I thought a lot of Justin Robinson. If the best he could manufacture was 5 and 6, it's going to be tough for anybody to be real successful there, I believe.
I think so too. They only lost one region game last year, and that was to Fairview.
Right.
Can they repeat that? I'm not sure. I think Camden this year might be. Look, they're probably on the way up, I think.
Like the coaching hire there.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned you kind of opened the door there for me. Matt McConnell takes over, leaves Westview. Of course, he had a lot of success there at Waverly prior to going to Westview. Love that hire. I think he's an alum there, Lee. I think that was the reason he made that move. Michael Rogers is back. Malachi Jacobs at wide receiver. He's got Stockdale at defensive end. Caleb Arnold, another defensive end. You get the nail on the head. He's got a lot of kids, a lot of key returners back. And they played Stratford fairly good. I mean, they put up 14 on Stratford there in the first round, so it's not like he doesn't have some talent to work with.
That's true, man. But I tell you what, Coach McConnell's 56 and 18 in his career coaching.
Pretty darn good.
And it was 6 and 5 last year.
Yeah.
So we've been on him when he was at Waverly.
Yeah, I remember when they hired him.
Man, we were all over him then. A great hire. So another good hire by Camden here. I think Camden may go up to the 2 spot in this region.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think he just brings that much to the table.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lee. I like them at 2 also. Stewart County, the Rebels, that was a 4C team. They got shut out by Pearl Cone in the first round. Connor Andrews at running back. Will Page at quarterback. Williamson, another running back. Austin Clark, another lineman, senior. I don't know. 6 and 5, 2 and 3. I don't know there's any place they can move up. Do you? Maybe contend with Sycamore for that 3rd spot if we think Sycamore is the 3rd team. You buy that? No, maybe.
I think 1, 2, 3, and 4 are pretty set.
Pretty set.
I pretty think so.
Cheatham County, another new head coach here. Gary Halstead takes over. He's 38-37 overall, and he was a former head coach at Sycamore Lee. Dwayne Daniels is out for the Cubs. 2 and 8, 1 and 4. Michael York. Cooper Owen is back at quarterback, senior. I'm sorry, he's a junior. Anything happening with Cheatham County potentially?
Well, I think the hire was good because Coach Halstead is familiar with this region.
Yes, that's a good point.
He's familiar with the region. I don't think right now there's any room for him.
Yeah. But
he does know the dynamics of the region.
Right. And then Harpeth, the Indians 1 and 9, 0 and 5. Doug Loop, I don't think that team. He's got 15 years there with Harpeth, but traditionally not one of the better teams.
Correct.
Don't see them doing much this year as well. All right, Lee. Well, that completes Region 5 and 6. We'll put our projections up for those 2 regions, and then we will return to you in just a moment. All right, Lee, that was Region 5 and 6. We're going to jump right into Region 7. This is a 6-team region. Had 2 new head coaches in this region. As we told at the top of the show, man, there's 13 total new coaches in Class 3A. Again, 2 of them are going to land in Region 7. Region 7 last year dominated by South Gibson.
Yes, sir.
I say dominate. Now they did win 3 of those 5 region games by 8 points or less. I don't know. I don't know if you could say it's domination. They were undefeated, but it was a close region, a tough region, Lee. Maybe the toughest in the state.
It is one of the toughest regions, especially in 3A. It is tough, man.
Yeah.
Coach Stidham does a good job, buddy. Did a real good job, man. They win them tight ball games.
Yeah, and he's got some key players back. Landon Lambert at wide receiver, Travis Parker, Ross Crenshaw, Maury Marable, and then of course they got big Mac Hooten.
That's right.
How you like that?
Yeah.
Listed athlete. He's a junior, so a lot of talent back for this South Gibson team. But again, like is the case last year, Lee Teat, tough competition in this region.
Very tough, very tough. I don't know that they'll hang on to that one spot this year. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, Lee. I like Milan a lot. I think they made a good hire in Carl Diffie. I've heard a lot of the Milan faithful over there. They're real happy with this hire, and they're real happy with the amount of talent they got coming back. Talk about that a little bit, Lee.
Yeah, Coach Diffie was 43-10 at North Panola, Mississippi. With South Panola, it gets all the hype.
Yeah.
But that's a hotbed of football in that area. And he's got plenty of talent, man. A.J. Barham, Seth Robertson, Orlandis Williamson. Big thing they got to figure out, obviously they lost Devontae Herron, who was a big-time contributor there for Coach Pettigrew. But I think Coach Diffie's, he'll be fine. He'll get everything lined up, and I fully expect them to be competing right there at the top of the region.
Now, they did, and I'm really ticked off. I made my second big mistake in these preview shows, Lee. The Liberty quarterback from last year, and I do think, not sure, I can't remember his name. I meant to add that to my notes, Lee, but he transfers over from Liberty. I'm sorry. I'm going to take just a second while we talk here, Lee, to look and see if I can find that name. But that kid transferred over, and he has already got scholarship offers to several schools. So he may be the key ingredient to this thing right here. And I think it was Anthony Brown. I believe it was his name, Lee, if I'm correct. He transferred to Milan. He's 6'2", 190.
Correct.
He came in from Detroit. Now, he actually got on my Twitter feed, and he kind of got on me last year for picking Milan so low. And he's a good kid, man. I actually had some communication with him, but he's transferred over to Milan. And I know Coach Atkin who just took over that Liberty spot, that was one of the things. Because he was one of the coaches I visited with in my West Tennessee excursion, and that was one kid he mentioned he hated he was going to lose. So I think he may put Milan in contention to win it. He might be the final key to the puzzle for Milan this year, to be honest with you, Lee.
Well, I mean, it's a great facility.
Yeah.
And just
new field,
new coach, fresh starts. Milan's going to be competing for it, but I'll tell you what, man, Covington is
you like Coach Kirby, don't you?
I do
like Coach Kirby also. He's a good dude, man. Good buddy of ours. We have him on every year.
Hey, them guys can coach.
Yeah.
You know what? They get a lot out of them kids.
He taught Marty Wheeler everything he knows. But, yeah, we love Coach Kirby. Marcus Hayes returns there. He was a Mr. Football finalist a couple of years ago. Had fought through some injuries last year, Lee, but I believe he's 100% healthy heading into this year. AC, Mason Young, another running back, young kid. Jamarian Dow, running back. Burton is a linebacker, key part of that team. Dyson's another linebacker, and both those guys are seniors, so they're going to be strong on that defensive side of the ball. And, of course, you're going to have Hayes along with some other kids running the ball. So you like Covington to win this region?
I do, and I tell you what, man, look at that score in the semifinals, 21-20
against that Pearl Cone team that is eat up with talent.
They know how to coach.
Yeah, they do.
And they can kind of take the air out from under you. Well, you know what I'm saying?
You remember 2 years ago, how much better on paper was Alcoa than Covington 2 years ago.
That's probably the best game plan I've ever seen against them.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think Covington this year, I think they should be in the one spot, but Milan will be knocking at the door.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lee. When I set our projections for this region, that was prior to the quarterback transfer. So I like Milan and Covington 1-2 now. I think in my screen we put up a little bit later, it's going to show Milan 2-3 with South Gibson, but I actually will put Milan and Covington in 1-2. 1-2. Westview, Lee, of course, Coach McConnell leaves that program after 1 year. Jared Neal takes over. He was offensive coordinator at Siegel last year.
Now, dude, he's got a stud for a quarterback.
Yes, sir. He does. Talk about him.
Ty Simpson, number 2 rated junior. Already has offers from Tennessee, LSU, Michigan.
Among many.
That's just a short list.
Yeah.
Marquise Taylor. So Westview's got some talent, man.
A lot of talent.
A lot of talent. Just got to be able to do something with it. Put some guys around him. But, he's young, man. Ty Simpson's young. Last year was a sophomore.
Right, and I think he's started both years.
Yeah, started as a freshman.
Yeah, he did. And, they began the season with four-game win streak, including that 57-49 shootout over McNary, which, that wound up propelling them into the playoffs there. I like them, man. And that might have costing McNary. I think McNary and Montgomery Central, Lee Teat, we were talking about teams that were 7-3 missed playoffs last night. I think that's the only two I remember anyway that finished the season 7-3 and were outside the playoffs. But the Bobcats had a great season last year, man. But they just that loss to Westview sealed their fate.
That's right. What do you think? More of the same in this region? Just a toss up.
Very competitive, brother.
It is one of the most competitive, top to bottom. I think.
I think they only lost to Covington by 10. So McNary was tough.
I believe Coach Kirby said something when we were talking to him last year about McNary. He's like, man, don't sleep on that team. They're good.
Yeah. Early
in the year,
Yep. I don't know, man. I think that's going to be a 5. It's kind of like that Region 5, man. It's 4 or 5 teams that could battle for it right there. Bolivar Central 3-7, 0-5 in region play. Kyle Lowe back at quarterback. Tyler Rice is also listed at quarterback league. Casey Bonds, Mark Ross, and I didn't mention some of the names for McNary. Jake Walker at defensive end. Strayhorn at running back, Pierce at free safety. Some of these kids here, but tough region, man.
Very tough region.
Region 8, Lee Teat, Wooddale won that region. They got knocked out by Covington in the 3rd round. So they did advance to the quarterfinals last year. I didn't expect that, but they got shut out by Covington in the 3rd round. Who did they beat in the 1st round? Do you remember that? That was beat Milan in the 2nd round.
Beat Westview.
Beat Westview in the 1st round. So they were the Region 7 killers last year, wasn't they?
They were.
Jerome Griffin, 89-80. Lee, overall, 26-19 in his 4 years at Wooddale. 10-3. So anytime you get a double-digit win, that's a very rare thing for a high school team to do. You don't see that very often. Successful season. What's your thoughts on Wooddale this year?
I think they'll be competing for maybe the top spot. Be between them, maybe in Raleigh, Egypt. Is that what you thinking?
Yeah, that's a tough region to pick.
It
to
is
be
very
perfectly
tough.
Honest with you.
Yeah, they got talent. Xavier Miller, Michael Clark, Corey Nash, Coleman.
Yeah.
They got plenty of talent, and they coming off a good year.
I think that's the main reason why I like Raleigh Egypt, because they lost so many kids. But Raleigh Egypt, man, they've kind of fallen off the map, since that 12-1 season back in 2017 with Major Wright. They haven't had much success. They do have new staff. Offensive coordinator from Booker T comes over. Delvin Lane takes over that program there. He's the one new coach in Region 8. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think the Pharaohs, they're traditionally probably the best team in that region. So I'm I want to pick them to compete with Wooddale, I think, for the region title this year. Melrose, the Golden Wildcats, they finished up second in that region last year, Lee. Cedric Wilson, 6-23 overall, 6-5 in his first year at Melrose. So he made a lot of improvements there. You may put the Golden Wildcats in contention here for this region. I don't think it's a clear-cut favorite. Do you?
No, I don't see it.
Tally is a good defensive end, along with Jordan Polk at cornerback, and then they got Devin Thomas at running back. Moving on down, Lee, Sheffield, the Knights, 1-10, 1-3. Their only win was over MLK Prep. I don't see them as a contender here. Do you? Despite the fact they did make the playoffs last year, I don't think they do so this year. Thoughts?
I can't see it or MLK Prep. I can't see them moving.
0-10, 0-4 for the Rams of MLK Prep. Yeah, I mean, really, Lee, we just don't really know enough about these Shelby County teams. It's hard to dig up information on them, and they're ever changing. There's a lot of player movement, as we talked about.
Well, I mean, they didn't even have a home game last year, I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to go by looking that region over. So just general knowledge, I think we'd have to go with Raleigh and Wooddale as the two favorites, with Melrose kicking in as a third option.
Yep.
You gonna buy with that?
Sheffield. Yep.
Yeah, and then Sheffield is your four regions. All right, Lee, let's quickly put the Region 7 and 8 projections on the screen. We'll let you guys watch that, and we'll be back with final thoughts on Class 3A. All right, Lee Teat, that's going to conclude our Class 3A region preview show. Much like last year, we love the Tornadoes to take Class 3A again this year. You agree?
Definitely. I think out of the East, it'll be Alcoa.
I think we got a rematch. I like Pearl-Cohn with all that talent to get out of the West again. What's your thoughts on that?
I can see it. I think the west side of the bracket's tougher. Top to bottom tougher.
Right.
I think, Alcoa's playing some big schools out. They play 6A schools out of the region, which gets them prepped.
Now, Pearl-Cohn would have to travel west this year. It's an even year.
That's
so
correct.
You travel west, so that may be.
Well, that's what I was about to get to. I think it'll be an Alcoa Pearl rematch, but if you
just go on talent.
Don't sleep on Covington.
Yeah, I like Covington. I like Milan. I think that the new quarterback may be the difference maker there. I look for probably those three teams. One of those three teams comes out of the West, and I obviously everybody loves Alcoa out of the East. I think that's what we're going to see.
I think so.
Well, we appreciate you guys joining us. This has been the Friday main event, Class 3A Region Preview. I am Mike Molder, and he is Lee Teat. And as always, Lee, we want to thank Jim Thompson.
Yes, sir.
Folks at CoachT.com for getting on board with us. Third year in a row, Coach T's agreed to be our title sponsor here on the Friday main event. Only high school football program that he endorses, openly anyway, on his website. And we appreciate Coach Thompson, great guy, good friend of us personally, and obviously supports the show with his website. And Elaborate Images, Lee Teat. We appreciate everything that Marcia Howard does for us as far as hats, shirts, and you can get information on how to get our products from Elaborate Images on the FridayMainEvent.com website. We got a link there right over to Elaborate Images, and if you want any game day stuff to support us, feel free. We'd love to see some hats in the crowd this year.
Yeah, get a selfie if you get a hat. And
we'll
post it to us, like where you're at, what game you're at.
Heck yeah, we'll put that up on our website and on our Twitter and all that other stuff social media outlets we have.
Because we are playing football.
We are playing football, man. I'm so excited about that. I was about 50-50 as late as yesterday. Yeah, so that was great news from the governor's office. Governor Lee, you may actually get my vote again. I was about to give up on you, brother. So you got back in my good graces there today. But for Lee Teat, I'm Mike Molder, and this is a Friday main event. We'll see you guys tomorrow night with Class 4A.